Oh, it's terrifying. It's really, really terrifying. I would imagine that for every job opening, there has to be hundreds of other candidates that are, equally as qualified.
In the global market for jobs, young people have been hardest hit. From a high of 76 million unemployed at the height of the crisis, the International Labour Office projects a slight decline for 2011. But the numbers belie a more serious problem.
If I sit around, I'm wasting my time. But I feel like even if I'm looking for a job, I'm still wasting my time. So I don't know what to do anymore.
75 million young people were looking for work at the end of 2010. Though slightly less than in 2009, the decline in part comes from young people who are hiding out in school or are too discouraged to look for work. And the longer they're out of work, the more likely they are to be scarred for the rest of their working lives.
You're scarred in terms of the path of unemployment. It won't be as easy. You're scarred in terms of the pay that you will receive. There have been some studies that have shown that those who enter the labor market after long periods of unemployment, 10 years on, were still receiving wages that were 5 to 8% lower than they might have been otherwise. So it simply means that you're going to face a more difficult future.
More young people are working part-time, suggesting those jobs are their only option. And in developing countries, most young people endure in working poverty, in the informal economy, simply to survive.
The economic situation of the country doesn't allow any young graduate to work in any field. There is no work. I would take any job I could find.
Despite advances in education that promised access to jobs, 1 in 4 young people are unemployed in the Middle East and North Africa, and this situation has not changed for at least 3 decades. Long-term youth unemployment rates in this region helped spark the Arab Spring uprisings.
I haven't got high hopes, so I'm probably going to leave and get a job somewhere else in another country.
And in Europe and North America, frustration is leading some to emigrate and others to the streets in protest.
We should encourage our young people to not become discouraged, to keep themselves active. Either it doesn't have to be in the labor market, it can be in the organization, they can volunteer, they can come together through social networks, something that's keeping them engaged. Because it's the lack of engagement that can create a sense of social discontent, that can create a sense of detachment. So keep positive, keep engaged, and push for a better future.
Welcome back to the United Nations Face-to-Face video conversations. Today we've been speaking about the issues of youth employment. The ILO has recently spoken about the SCAR generation at the World Economic Forum in Davos. There's a dangerous mix, as our Director General Juan Semovia has mentioned, of high unemployment and increased inactivity and precarious work. And this is happening more frequently. We've seen the manifestations and frustrations in whether it be the Occupy Wall Street movement or within the Arab Spring. There is a general feeling that people are not having the opportunities to have gainful employment, to get on with their lives. Right now I'm joined by 2 leaders in international development and civil society innovation. My first guest is Susan Davis, who is the president and CEO of BRAC USA, and Susan is a pioneer in microfinance for tackling global poverty. Thank you for joining us today.
Nice to be here, Kevin.
Our second guest is Poonam Ahluwalia. Poonam is the founder and president of Youth Entrepreneurship and Sustainability, which promotes youth entrepreneurship to address key development challenges.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. There are a number of challenges that are facing youth today that impede their capacity to really give fully to the societies in which they live. We see unemployment, gender inequalities, we see discrimination, and lack of involvement in public issues. The UN has called upon a focus for both in skills and opportunities, and to have constructive partnerships for youth today. What I'd like to discuss now are some of the specific strategies that your organizations are forwarding. So, Susan, if I can ask you first, what are the steps that are being taken to enhance the role of young women in today's workforce, especially with the Employment and Livelihood Adolescence Program?
Well, BRAC is a 40-year-old organization that started in Bangladesh, and today we're working in 10 countries, Asia and Africa primarily, and One of the first things we've done is biased our work to hiring first-time job holders, and particularly women, young women. So if you look at the 125,000 employees that BRAC has, and you combine that with 150,000 self-employed BRAC-branded entrepreneurs, those 275,000 people today touch the lives of 138 million people in the quest to help develop their ability to have a livelihood, improve their lives and well-being, and have a happy family. So that's the first thing. The combined force of our raison d'etre is about more and better jobs, for happier lives, for people who are desperately poor. Now with young women, we've learned that you've got to invest in young women as early as possible, so make sure they get a chance to be in primary school, and do whatever you can to prevent them from being pulled out of the school system in secondary school. And if they have the unfortunate occurrence not to be able to continue with formal schooling, make sure you can figure out how to combine the social and financial empowerment package in a safe space so that they can, in fact, be successful in creating their own livelihood, and they can deal with sexual and reproductive issues, they can deal with safety issues, and we help them navigate the spaces so that the community gives them a wider playing field. Investing in girls is in fact the best way that societies can boost their own GDP.
Yes, I think we see today, as the Commission on Status of Women is launching today, that sometimes in certain countries, women who obviously are 50% of the workforce are not fully leveraged to create economic advancement and hence increase economic opportunities, not just for themselves, but for the wider community and countries.
Well, I don't know if we want to leverage women. Women are overworked, basically, and underpaid. We're not recognized for most of the work we do in the homes, but we're also, because of discrimination in labor force patterns, whether it's access to finance or the way we segregate types of jobs by this is a male job versus a female job, we don't have enough opportunities. So in the quest for both equal opportunity as well as so people can really get out of poverty, you've got to make sure that females and males have access to using their full skills. And that's part of the challenge here. You know, you look around the world, talent is equally distributed, whether by race, class, gender, ethnicity. It's opportunity that's not. And Kevin, that's the problem that we've been trying to work on to redress. If we can redistribute and create more and better opportunities, then you've got a way to be able to utilize everybody's full potential. So that's, for example, with the MasterCard Foundation partnership that BRAC has in Uganda, we've been able to, in a very short period of time, 5 years, take and compress what BRAC has been learning over 40 years and scale up very quickly so that we have almost 2,000 employees touching the lives of 2 million Ugandans. Among that, you've got hundreds of thousands of young people who are actually figuring out how to use their skills. We don't hire people based on whether they have experience or not. It's whether they've got the curiosity, the creativity, the aptitude, the heart, the desire. We want to actually be a trainer of first-time job holders. You know, it's what McDonald's does around the world. And if you can have a company teach a young person to make a perfect French fry, why not deliver a loan or prevent babies from dying? Why not use those skills for things that actually help the world achieve the Millennium Development Goals?
Excellent, well put. I think what resonates with me is equality of opportunity, and I think that's very consistent with the ILO's Decent Work Agenda. Poonam, I wonder if you can speak a bit about the youth trade program that you're pioneering and how this is opening up new markets and it's creating new opportunities for young entrepreneurs.
At Yes, we believe that getting young people to dream and have hope is the most important gift we can give them. Because you can provide a lot of training and development services, but if they are not lit up inside, if they don't see a way forward and a structure for fulfillment, all of it just stays where it is. So our goal is to create inspiring programs which end kind of resignation, that nothing is going to happen. So one of the things we try to do is make sure that young people have an opportunity to rewrite their future and not fall into the default future that everybody is saying, oh, this is how it's going to be. If this is how it's going to be, then nothing will change it. So our goal is to clean up the slate of your future, what you are thinking about, and seed it with dreams from now. So that is the real goal of YES, to get people to dream. Susan is a dreamer, and I love that about you, Susan. So,
dreamer and schemer.
And schemer, yes. And honestly, that's what is needed. So with Youth Trade, we've created this program where we are getting conscious capitalism companies like Whole Foods, Panera Bread, Trader Joe's, and others to agree that they will keep a portion of their sales, their retail space for young entrepreneurs, and then we'll brand those products as Youth Trade. So like Fair Trade, we'll create a Youth Trade as a brand, and a powerful brand that will draw young entrepreneurs towards it. So it's not like a supply side that we're going to teach you and we're going to tell you what to do or we'll help you with that. We're saying they're not helpless. Young people are innovative and they have the ability, their organizations providing them with abilities. We want to provide a structure whereby their products can get to the market. So Youth Trade is about creating a space in the marketplace, and everybody can be a youth tradist. So you can buy a youth trade and promote youth trade. You can facilitate youth trade and promote. So I think it's about creating a global coalition for promoting young people's products and services.
I think you're onto something interesting there. When you mentioned about the young entrepreneurs and linking up with groups such as Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, I think what you find now is that the young people in the developed world as well too are becoming more conscious of their choices, and they are promoting these kind of ideas. Can you talk a little bit about those partnerships?
Yes, that's very true. So in 3 countries, Nigeria, Mali and Senegal, African Capacity Building Foundation is helping us create youth trade in those countries. Now the goal is that we will bring young people here to the Whole Foods Summit that's taking place on 16th of March to show them how they can step up with the product, bring it to a global level. Standardization of the product. The product needs to be such that Americans can buy it or Europeans can buy it where the marketplace exists. So we want to show the way. And Whole Foods is not only going to help in making the product more worthwhile of being placed in the Whole Foods store, but also help in merchandising, in packaging, as well as loans up to $100,000. So we've got a really good agreement with them to bring step people up to serve the biggest global market that we have. So in Nigeria, we're setting up the Youth Trade Innovation Studio. And that's where we are going to invite young people to start bringing what products they have, help them scale it up, provide merchandising support, packaging support, and opening the markets here in the US and other places. So you'll soon find youth trade bazaars everywhere where we'll have these products branded. So there is this whole global young people will have a solidarity movement around being youth trade entrepreneurs.
Very interesting ideas. Susan, I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball. I've recently seen your Twitter account, and you've recently tweeted that BRAC values are innovation, inclusiveness, integrity, and effectiveness. And you said that start with pilots, learn by doing, okay to fail, but you must learn from it. Can you speak a bit about maybe a program that you've launched that may have not worked out the way you wanted, but you kept at it and it did succeed?
Well, you know, when you start any business, you're bound to hit a lot of points where you're not succeeding. And in the quest for more and better jobs, BRAC has started lots of businesses where we can help improve the value chain in silk and milk and in fisheries and crafts. We had failures in silk, and because we weren't able to have enough space to grow the mulberry bushes that you need to feed the silkworms. But we kept at it, and today we've got very large-scale social enterprises that then open up employment for others. We tried to transfer that same experience in Uganda, as I mentioned, through our MasterCard partnership, and we started too soon to start producing sanitary napkins for young people. Didn't have our price points worked out, and so our first attempt failed. But we're working on it, and in conversations, in fact, with a large multinational, maybe we'll figure out how to, because the key is to be able to produce businesses for us at scale, or to open up possibilities so that hundreds of thousands of people can participate. And so by taking a value chain approach, you can figure out what places are missing, what places are stuck, and how to help people differentiate their own product. What BRAC does is use the larger scale access to finance and markets to make that possible. And we do it with triple bottom line consciousness. And I think, as Poonam was saying, conscious capitalism is the way forward. And for young people today, it's not about being job seekers, it's about being job creators with all the creativity and ingenuity that they've got inside. I learned so much, as I know Poonam does, from what they teach us every day.
Very true.
And I think that's actually a good point that we're going to unfortunately have to end on, but if I can ask Poonam and then Susan, what is one characteristic or a series of characteristics you see in young people today that gives you hope that real change is coming?
I feel that young people now have a lot of integrity, which means they're keeping their word. We have 30,000 youth leaders in our network, and I find that there is a solidarity and an integrity there. And then also young people become net citizens. They're no longer divided by geographic boundaries. They're beyond boundaries, and that's an amazing characteristic to have in your life. So yes, I have a lot of hope and love for young people that they'll do the right thing.
Very good. Susan?
Yes, they've redefined local. Local is as far as the heart can travel. And young people have no limits now. They're going to help us figure out how to care for our planet and everybody on it who needs decent work.
Poonam, Susan, thank you very much for joining us today. I think we've had some really wonderful discussions here, and I'm sorry that we have to end at this particular point in time. Right now, we're going to take a bit of a break and show you another video on youth employment. We'll be coming back with our next guest, and we'll be speaking about the transition and the opportunities provided by the green economy. Thank you very much.